So welcome everyone to the second day of the Symposium on Applied Perception. So today we will start with Dr. Kasahara's keynote right away in a couple minutes. Then we'll have a short break, and then we'll have two sessions back to back. Session 3, spatial judgments, and session 4, hands and interaction. So I think that's it for today. So now let's start right away, right? So let me introduce our speaker. So we have as our second keynote, Dr. Shunichi Kasahara. He's a researcher at Sony Computer Science Laboratories, and where he's the leader of the Superception project. He received his PhD in interdisciplinary information studies from the University of Tokyo in 2017, and he joined the Sony Corporation in 2008, and he's an affiliate researcher at MIT Media Lab since 2012. So the Superception project includes research about computational extensions of human perception and investigation of the self in human-computer interaction. The results of this research have been presented at major international conferences in the fields of computer graphics, human-computer interaction, and perception. Dr. Kasahara also conducts interactive exhibitions and social implementation as a way of circulating research in society, which is amazing. That's something not all of us always do. So that's a nice thing to put an effort into, to bring research to society. So today he'll talk about superception, exploring a new self in the integration of humans and computers. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you for the great introduction. And then, yeah, that's very quite honor to be here. So nice to meet you. So my name is Shunichi Kasahara. So you can call me Shun. And yeah, so again, so it's really a pleasure to present my research here at the SAP. And then since for me, SAP is one of my favorite conference community where perception cognition research and also the computer science researches come together and then providing some very interesting researches out of this community. And then, yeah, so I've been watching the last conference and the publications a long time. And actually for me, the SAP, the last year was my the first SAP, and then unfortunately this year also we have a global publication yesterday actually. Yeah, so it's a bit sad happening in the virtual, and then I do hope that we can meet in person in very near future. Yeah, but anyway, so thank you for inviting me, and then let me start my talk here. Okay. So the little bit about the background. So maybe all of you may know about this kind of background, but recent computer science technology or computer technology can enable to foster the new existence of the humans. So if, for instance, not only the wearable or mixed reality, but we can now imagine that using telepresence robots in remote communication, or even the metaverse to communicate each other in the virtual reality. And also we can also create a copy of myself by using the digital human technology, for instance. And even that we can also imagine that now the BMI is getting feasible, so will be able to get the direct access of the neural the activities in the brain. So which means we will get more information or communication near to our humans. So from those kind of the background, so this is actually my research interest and the research statement. This is when computer and human integrate, to what extent are we ourselves? That is my main research agenda, also questions. Because as we showed a little bit before, the computer is no longer a tool of the human. Of course, the computer technology or computer interface provides a variety of the possibilities for human, which is great. But also now the computer is not like just a tools, but computer and human is tightly connected, and then it's almost integrated into the many of the forms, including some telepresence, some metaverse, or some wearable technologies. But also those kind of human computer integration provide the new abilities or new bodies for humans. But if we cannot feel or if we cannot perceive those new ability or new body as own selves, we will end up to lose ourselves. And it's actually kind of like a very dystopian technology, the future, because as the computer technology evolve, but we will lose ourselves. So from that point of view, I think that when we think about computer technologies, we have to think about then what kind of self should be designed and from some point of the human-computer integration. So that is kind of my research motivation and also research statement. So today, I want to talk about these topics into the three aspects of the project here. So I will talk in the order. So the one is self in computer, human-computer integration, and two is beyond one mind, one body, and three is counter of self in computer-mediated. Okay, so let me start with the first topic of the self in computer human integration. Okay, so I want to talk. I want to start with a very simple experiment in using the pen. So in this talk, in this session, in these topics, I want to talk about the actions, sense of myself, the action, which means like sometimes it's called like a sense of agency. And for instance, if this is the very beginning of this project. This project called Wild Muscle is a collaboration with Jun Nishida and Kenji Suzuki. And then if you have any chance to meet in person in the other person, and then please ask somebody to release a pen on top of your hand. And then try the pen drop experiment. Okay, I will show. So this is called pen drop test, pen drop experiment. And then other person is release a pen, and you have to, you try to catch the pen, something like this. Usually it's quite difficult. But if we attach some new technology into the body, and then using that mystery wearable devices, we can catch the pen, something like this, very easily. Yeah. So I will show you why. First of all, why we cannot catch the pen. Since we have a kind of latency of the human processing, because the perception and the cognition and also motor plan and the motor signal go to the body and then end up to the muscle and the muscle contracts. Those kinds of reaction time is end up 200, almost like 215 milliseconds, and it's not enough fast to catch the pen. This is because we cannot catch the pen. But in the last video, the magic behind this pen catch is actually we put EMG, electromyography sensing, in the hand who is release a pen. Then we can detect the muscle signal of the releasing. And by using that signal, we can also actuate the person bead finger, person finger muscle by using electro muscle stimulation. It's called EMS. By using EMS, we can actually stimulate the muscle electrically, and then it's actually contract the muscle to catch the pen. Okay. Then this latency is only 250 or 60 milliseconds. That's why we can get the pen. And we developed this system on also show the many conferences on also exhibitions. For instance, the ACM for instance, we did a many exhibition. For instance, here she cannot pen here, but when we turn on the device, of course, we ask the person to try to catch pen on self. So as you can see, they can catch the pen as something like this very easily. Yes. So the first idea is like, okay, so by using EMS, we can augment humans' reaction time, and then we can kind of force to catch the pen. Yeah. So we started just like a fun experiment. But when actually we are keeping the exhibition, and then many interesting things happen. For instance, in this video, unfortunately, I cannot share the sound, but I will explain what is happening. And in this first trial, we didn't we didn't turn on the EMS. In the next trial in this video, I will secretly turn on the EMS. Okay. So this is no EMS, and after EMS on, yeah. And then this gentleman get really happy. Oh, so I did catch a pen. So my reflex is very fast, and then I'm very happy that I can catch the pen. Then actually, so I explained what is happening because, sorry, gentlemen, this is not your ability. This is because EMS actuate your finger muscles, and then that's why you can get the pen. But this gentleman did not understand, and not maybe did not so much hear about my explanation, and then he said, oh, "Okay, so my reflection is very nice, and then I'm very happy that." And then, yeah, so I'm very confused. I'm a bit confused that maybe I did. You didn't. Thank you so much. You did explain it. So it's actually so I did explanation, but he didn't believe that I provide the EMS. But this is not the case. This is not only case. During these experiment, many people mentioned that I catch the pen. But actually, the EMS is faster. The EMS is providing a faster reaction movement than human. So we found actually, so from this experiment, we hypothesized that maybe in the human actions, there are some time window where even we provide a faster reaction, faster movement by EMS, but still we feel this is my action. So to investigate this time window, we did this project called Preemptive Action with these 3 persons. And to investigate, of course, when we applied EMS too much faster earlier, of course, we cannot feel that this is my action. Yes, so we will lose sense of agency. From that point of view, where is the sweet spot of the EMS or the actuation? So we did a very simple, we did a very simple the experiment using the EMS and the touch screen, and then sometimes we applied many various EMS, and then we also collected the data of how much did you feel the sense of agency, and then as a result, we found even we accelerate the human reaction time 80 milliseconds faster than usual reaction time, still people feel like over the 50%, they feel sense of agency. It means we can accelerate the human reaction time still without losing the sense of agency. Now, of course, by using this time window, we can apply the faster reaction time, but still, I feel like I did it. So from those kind of the exploration, I found like okay, so when we think about the human action, of course we get the input and then output action, and then we attribute, oh, this is my action. But in this kind of the human-computer integration situation, computer behind us or integrated us is also creating some action by using my body or whatever. Then it's kind of we can output integrated action. The point is then how we can attribute this integrated action to self. Otherwise, we will lose sense of agency. Then when we think about those kind of computer technology, for instance, in the visual reaction time, visual reaction, for instance, even we found like a visual reaction time is like over 200. But when we think of the computer technology, like machine vision, it's actually much faster than human. We can do that, much faster than what we can do. Then, for instance, the machine vision detection is only less than 5 milliseconds. It's much faster than me. And also more like the complex situation in the when we think of the strategy or some like the cognitive loaded task. But even those kinds of strategy were very sophisticated task. Now AI agent can outperform the world champion of the level human player, even in the video game. But we can also imagine that those kinds the AI can apply for the usual as the daily task or daily activities. That means like even in the complex task, AI or computer can provide some assistance in the complex task. But from that point of view, we want to think about then what if those kinds of human-computer integration tasks are happening in more complex task, complex situation. So this is for investigating this complex situation. We can imagine that the human has some decision and also machine agent providing some decision, and those two agents actually using our movement, our bodies as actuators. Then what happened? What we feel? So to investigate this question, we did this project called Whose Touch Is This project with these 4 members. So in this explore this choice task, we employ this cognitive demanding task called stroke test. So for instance, you can see this is red and blue text, but you might find red text is colored. I'm sorry, red text is colored blue, and the blue text is colored red. Yeah. Then if you ask to select the red text, you might get a bit confused because of those kinds of physical and semantic information is the conflict each other, and it's actually hard to choose sometimes. And then in this situation, we made some kind of very fast choice task, something like this. Yeah, right. Okay, so I will play a game. So you will see some instruction, and then after that, you will see the visual stimuli, and then you have to very quickly react this the instruction. Then, of course, this is very hard and very difficult. And then the participant have to answer to both hands. But as maybe you can imagine that we put EMS in both hands to create some movement to answer, right? So we provide many various EMS, offset EMS timing to create movement. And in this situation, we can create a kind of interesting matrix between human success and EMS success on failure. Because sometimes this is because of difficult question, difficult task. Sometimes user made a mistake. And also, we intentionally designed EMS sometimes provide incorrect movement, or sometimes incorrect movement. This actually provides this quadrant, the matrix of the user, incorrect, correct, and EMS, correct, incorrect matrix. For instance, as you can see here, this is a user and EMS provides the jointly the correct actions. Or here, a joint failure, this is a human made a mistake, and also EMS intentionally providing the incorrect movement. And this is also the incongruent situation, like a user and EMS providing moving different hands, and they end up to the success or end up to failure. Yeah. And then in this situation, we did quite similar experiment as before in the EMS trial, and this is a very highlight of the result. So here, the vertical line is a sense of agency score, and then horizontal line is EMS offset, how fast the EMS was. Yeah. And then here, when this is a congruent situation where the user and also EMS move same hand. Yes. So they are providing the same movement. They are moving the same hand. In this situation, we can observe that those kinds of slope of the sense of agency value, and more importantly, we found that this sense of agency value is biased based on the outcome. That is, like if EMS and the human made a correct action, joint success, they feel like a bit higher agency score, and the contracts. The EMS or human made a mistake. It's the human feels like less agency. It's more like the bias to attribute the failure to the machine. Yes. Because of the sense of agency, the score they lower, and then they feel like, oh, this is not my action, but more like this is because of the EMS. Yeah. So from that point of view, if the congruent situation happens, the people feel the sense of agency in biased based on the outcome. But on contrast, in incongruent situation where the human and also EMS provide different hand movement, this is actually we expected that maybe there are some like a blur effect, but that's not happened. So in this incongruent situation, the people, the human, clearly finds which was my movement, which was the faster, and then clearly distinction between the I did and I did not. And then as we can see here, the human response in a very clear agency score, 1, no agency, or 7, very high score. And then no, the blood, the intermediate state. It means they provide like they find a clear distinction on the what I did or not, I did not. Yes. So from that kind of the experiment, we found still this is a working hypothesis, but we found this is a kind of interesting happening. This interesting phenomenon happening in human computer integration, because in the congruent situation, the people and also EMS providing the same hand movement is actually the sensory error is small because they are moving the same hand. And because of the sensory error is small, people still feel this is my action, this is still self. That's because the outcome bias had happened. But in contrast, in the congruent situation, because the EMS and also the movement is moving different hand movement, and then it's actually provide larger sensory error. The larger sensory error provides clear distinction of the self or not. And then from this point of view, so it's a larger sensory error provide, oh, this is not me. That's because we provide a clear distinction. And then, of course, we cannot lead to some kind of the blur situation where the outcome bias happens. Yes. So from that point of when we think about the framework of the computer-human integration action, then how we can how we can preserve the sense of agency or self-attribution, then we need to think about these two components. One is the sensory level comparison, and the two is the context level comparison. So for instance, if we cannot provide the sensory error, we should provide the lower sensory error in the human's motion. Otherwise, we will tell that, oh, this is not my action. And also, we human have some intention and also context. So the integrated action should be provided, like aligned with human intention. So if these two elements is aligned, the human action and also intention, then we can preserve the attribution of the integrated action. So based on this framework, we make some like an example of using this framework, and then I will show the two examples here. So one is using the tug of war game. It's called Tight Game. So this is a cooperation with the Tokyo University, and then so I will show you the video. Okay, so you might know the tug of war game, like the pulling the rope each other and then competing each other, and then now you see the two person is competing each other and then proving this, and then yes, and you might see, oh, this is very very balanced and a very good game. But actually, you see if the other person is behind them, is controlling something, you might find this game situation is controlled by his interface. So the behind this, what's happening here is actually we put like a motor, computer motor behind the ropes and then providing force assistant in the tug of war game, and also we provide a force sensor to measure the human's actions. So we provide like the action triggered control of the force intervention. So we only triggered the change of the force intervention when the people can suddenly prove the situation. So by using this kind of the context aware the force intervention, we can create like a very implicit force intervention to the person. So important the aspect is like if we can apply the implicit force intervention, still this two person is engaging and also sense of agency and without knowing the force intervention. Then we can apply this similar idea to the other scenarios, like for instance, like the remote control of the robot. To investigate, we also create a tag air hockey game using the robot. Okay, so this is also collaboration with the Tokyo University team, and I will show you the video. Yeah, so we created like the robot robotic the game robotic system for the air hockey, and then local machine is moving around, and the remote person can control the robot. And as you can imagine that if we can do it in very naive way, we cannot hit or we cannot play any at all because of the latency and also human latency and the system latency. Then for overcome that the latency, we actually engineer some automatic movement of the air hockey system, and not only just automatic. We designed the integration of the robot automatic reaction and human manual control. So if we merge to this the movement in context-aware way, we can create that the people still feeling that I am doing great action, but still there are some computer assistants there. By using this system, so people feel that still I'm doing a good game, but still there are actually many of the computer assistants there. Okay. So from those kind of example is a kind of example, or those kind of project is an example of how we can provide sense of attribution in the computer-human integration. And then those kinds of example is providing lower sensory error in the motion, and also the computer assistant is aligned with the human intention. Okay. So right now, we are now investigating more in the detail of this model, and then create more sophisticated framework on top of the findings. Okay. Okay, so I want to go on to the next topic about the beyond one mind, one body. Because of the using the robotic body or the virtual bodies, we can imagine that not only the one body, but we can also use the multiple bodies in the virtual reality or telepresence. But how we can do that? That is a question of the beyond one mind, one body. Then for the other initial exploration for the multiple bodies, we created like a kind of multiple body experiment with robot arm. As you can see, we can control the two robot arms in the same time, right? In synchrony. And then by using this framework, we explore the new way of the sports. It's called the parallel ping pong. In the parallel ping pong, it's a collaboration project with Sony and Embodied Media project in the Keio University, Keio Media Design. And this is actually exploration for how we can use multiple body in same time. Then as a topic, we choose the ping pong because this is very real time and this is very engagement. Then to enable to the watching the multiple world in same time, of course we can design. We design like the virtual reality view, which we can see in the both body in the same time in the virtual reality headset, for instance. We can provide like a context aware of the view switching in the based on the ball coming. So you can see you see the two bodies first person view based on the game state. But more importantly, as we show in the air hockey example, if we try to move this kind of robotic arm, it's impossible because of the latency and also because we are controlling the two robots and also the human is not so much sensitive the speed. So the same idea, but we created some automatic robotic movement to respond sorry, I cannot play the video. Okay, here. Okay, so unfortunately it's not working well, but we created the automatic reaction movement by the robotic arm, and then we integrate this robotic arm movement also human movement together. And the important point is if we can design this if we can design the integrated motion well, we can feel participant or user can feel like, oh, this is my action, and this is what I did in the robotic arm. So from that kind of the experiment, we did exhibition in the, for instance, SIG of Asia as well as the conferences in something here. And then surprisingly, even we provided many of the even we provided many computer assistants in the movement of the robotic arm, but still people feel like, oh, I am controlling this two robot arm and hitting back to and playing with two persons. So this is surprisingly working well. But also, this provides a very interesting new question for using the multiple bodies. That is a new question is actually how we can adapt, how we can embody multiple bodies at the same time. Because, of course, the previous example of the multiple ping pong is actually we are using same robot arm. It means like a same configuration of the robot. But when we imagine that we're using the multiple robot or multiple bodies, maybe those kinds of each bodies has different functionality or different ability or different posture. So that we need to adapt those kinds of different bodies at the same time if we want to embody it in multiple bodies. So the question is, can we adapt multiple bodies at the same time? So to investigate these questions, we applied the very well-known paradigm called visual motor rotation or motor adaptation paradigm, which is very known in the motor control researches by using the virtual reality. So in this situation, people wear head-mount display and they're watching their own virtual bodies, and then the people is doing like this kind of the reaching task, and you see the target, and then you need to reach the target, something like this. But in this situation, we provide the visual motor rotation, which is like we are providing some rotation into the virtual body movement. Then this is an example of the one body. It means that there are still this is the one body example, but as you can see, the visual motor rotation start with 0.0 degree and then gradually increase some rotation, and then some point we eliminate the rotation. Then I will show some example results of this visual motor rotation. So for instance, in the very beginning, this is the very beginning, there are no rotation, but gradually, even we provide gradual rotation, people still can adapt in the gradual rotation. And an important perspective of this gradual rotation is that the participants are not aware of the rotation. Even people are not aware of the rotation, but still participants can adapt this visual motor rotation in implicit way. This is a well-known paradigm, well-known phenomena is a gradual visual motor adaptation. So this is happening. Also, we can confirm that this can happening in the virtual reality as well. And more importantly, so we see this is a low error, smaller error, but in the moment of the here, when we eliminate the rotational movement, rotation to the body, of course, because the people adapted to the plus 55 rotation, and then the moment of the back to the zero rotation, people get like a larger error in the opposite way. Yeah. So we can imagine like very easily, but also even they found, oh, something happened and the rotation was back to the original, but still the participant need to some time to adapt back to zero. So this is called the after effect, which means because of this adaptation is happening in implicit way, and this is actually updates the internal model of the movement. This is because participants need some time to back to the original internal model, which is the need to some time to back to the original. So this is well-known, the paradigm, well-known phenomena, the implicit adaptation in the visual motor rotation. And based on this theory, we applied two bodies with two opposite visual motor rotation. So we can imagine that we provide two bodies, two virtual bodies. The one is gradually rotating into the right, and the one body is gradually rotating in the left. Okay, so for instance, as you can see here, so if you see it in the first-person view, you see sometimes it's the cross is purple, and sometimes the cross is pink, for instance, because we're providing a different body. And in these different bodies, this body is gradually, one body is gradually to the left, and one body is gradually turned to right, so left. And then if we do it, if we participants do in this adaptation experiment in first-person perspective, this is showing the results, example of the results. People cannot adapt this rotation at all. So as you can see, the very large error, almost like no adaptation here, and then here is almost like no adaptation here. And also, people try to understand what is happening. So maybe the people have to really care about which body I'm using. Or which means like, I am using body A, so I have to go right. And then I'm moving my body B, and then I have to slightly go left, something. Then it is very highly cognitive demanding. And then eventually, here, there are no after effects. Because of this is happening in very explicit adaptation. It's actually not adaptation because adapted at all, but it's actually happening in very explicit. So if even we wash out, we back to some zero rotation, it's just like go back to original. And then people feel, just looks like a usual movement, and then there are no after effect at all here. But so it means like with the first person perspective, we cannot adapt the both body in the same time. But if you applied this same situation, but if you applied in the third person perspective for each bodies, the situation we found surprisingly, participants can adapt the two bodies at the same time. So here, as you can see, the peoples get the less rotational area here. So, and also interestingly, the participant reported that they are not aware of the rotation. They didn't notice that the rotation is happening. So it's quite similar to what happened in the implicit adaptation in the one bodies. And also, more importantly here, when we eliminate rotation, we can observe that the clear after effect in both bodies in opposite way. It means like we can, in this parallel dual adaptation, they are happening in the implicit, and also the intermodal model of those two bodies is actually updated in same time. Okay, so from as a summary, as a summary, we can adapt multiple body in parallel if we provide the third person perspective, and then it's actually provide implicit dual adaptation. In the first person view, we cannot adapt them in the same time. So this is quite interesting findings recently, and then still we are now investigating the mechanism of this, what happened in the implicit and explicit, why it's happening in the first person and the third person. We still investigate, but this is the first result we for the parallel adaptation. And then now this actually is we will exhibit this experiment and in the game-like experiment in the Shiga of Asia this year. So if you have a time, please come to the Shiga of Asia. But in this situation, of course, we can observe that this guy is moving this parallel adaptation, and then if we observe this situation outside, we can clearly observe that he is moving different movement. But even that, he is not aware of this different movement. So this is because of parallel implicit adaptation. So from this kind of findings, when we think of the beyond one mind, one body, we can come up with this framework for the embodied multiple bodies, because we can think about the explicit and implicit factor for the multiple bodies. Of course, doing some decision or action, we need explicit knowledge, explicit decision for each bodies. So we need to use explicit awareness or explicit the consciousness. But to adapt or to embody the multiple bodies, we should design implicit way to embody those multiple bodies. Otherwise, this kind of adaptation that embodying is actually consumed the much about the explicit awareness or explicit attention is actually consumed much, and then it's end up to the like losing the performance and also doing like actions. So from that point of view, to embody multiple bodies, we need to design implicit adaptation for each bodies. So that is the current our the findings based on this result. Okay. So finally, time is running up. So I want to go into the final topic of this talk about the contour of the self. So the 5 years ago, actually, I did the virtual reality experiment using how we can change the sense of body by using the virtual reality. And then one of this example is actually he's watching the own virtual body and in mirror, and with some trick he mentioned something like this. So he said, "Oh, my body get lighter." Then actually we didn't do anything about physical. We didn't provide any physical changes, but we actually provide the visual changes in the body representation or virtual body. It means like we provide we anticipated the movement of the virtual body, and instead of the original motion, we show the anticipated motion, and it actually provides lighter body sensation. Now, also, as you can imagine easily, if we provide like a deformation or the backward delay, yes, so we can provide like a hangover, the heavy sensation, something like this. But the interesting point of this project is actually we can control this sense of the body sensation or perception even without noticing the intervention. So he is not aware of what is happening, but still they feel like, oh, that my body get lighter, or my body is getting heavier. So from these kind of findings, I found this is very interesting, is how we can intervene the self without knowing it. And then, of course, I focus on the kind of self and this sense of this is me. And for instance, this face is my face. Yes. So yeah, this. And do you think this is still me? Yep. I don't know, but maybe hope that many people feel that this is still me. And do you think this is still me or not? Yeah. Then actually, I changed something like this. Yeah. So this is obviously changing. But when we provide like a gradual change or change blindness, we cannot find a change. This is actually that we showed in last years because the sales update. So if we can leverage the creating, the generating, the morphing of the visual, we can induce change blindness by applying providing the visual blank or even in the blink. And also if we provide the gradual update, for instance, okay, of course, by using GAN, we can provide the gradual changes. Then by using it, if you provide gradual changing over time, and then using the change blindness, some situation, the people not aware of the change itself until the 50% of the face changes. So this is very surprising to me because even this is prospectively, but retrospectively, this is very the huge changes, but we cannot find it. So this year, we also the successive project is providing some metrics of between the change, sense of the change, and also recognition of the face to the face. The distance in the latent metrics again. But this comes to me the new idea of then can we intervene into self with morphing the facial images then based on this result. So we created a new exhibition called Morphing Identity by using this kind of paradigm. Okay. So this is the kind of the public exhibition that where the many persons comes in. Then I will show the video here. So two persons comes in the booth and then take a photo, and then the face morphing started. Even they can still talk each other and they having a conversation each other, but as you can see, the left side of the face, she's moving on face, but gradually it's going to be the other person and the counter person. And then now it's all completely swapped. And then after that, it's going back to the own body, own faces, own facial identity. And then, for instance, here it's like a 50%, 50%. And then finally, it's going back to the original face identity that we have. So based on this, so now we are now analyzing and investigating how we feel the sense of self in this situation. But so it's still an ongoing project. But as far as we investigate, we found there are some kind of the boundary of the sense of self and sensory self and others. For instance, if we provide like the 100% to the 90% of the self, still many people feels like, oh, this is still me. This is still my face. Obviously, the half morphing is almost like a different person, but still we found there are some kind of boundary of the self in the morphings, the matrix. So this is actually providing a new research question because if we have some boundary of the self in kind of the information dimensions, can boundary the self be manipulated over time, or how does the country of self matters for interpersonal communication? So we can think about the communication, also the sense of self, in terms of the count of the self in the morphing state, the dimensions. So now we are now analyzing the exhibition, also the continuing research. So hope I can see some update in near future. Okay, so today I did talk about these three topics, but then I showed some existing working. It still is a hard working hypothesis, but I made several framework for thinking about this phenomenon. But here, I just want to mention quickly about how we'll apply the perception research contribute to HCI, because of course, HCI is providing a lot of the evolution for the computer-human integration, including the mouse and the smartphone and the mixed reality. But when we think of the HCI integration, it's like a human-computer integration, we need to think about the new dimension of the integration. Of course, we can imagine that the explicit, easy to understand, and also the cognitive demanding, still cognitive demanding, but the explicit human-computer integration. But in addition to that, we should think about implicit computer-human integration. Then actually, what I showed today is actually many of the aspect is based on the implicit human-computer integration, because of the preserving sense of agency or providing the implicit assistant, or the embodying multiple bodies, it should be implicit, something like this. So I think for the designing the human-computer integration, we should care about implicit aspect of the human-computer interaction. And then I think from that point of view, applied perception research is very important thing to think about the implicit aspect, because this kind of perception or implicit aspect of the human has a much larger much larger bandwidth to the information and also abilities. So I think we are kind of leveraging the human nature of the ability is very important for designing the human-computer integration. Okay, so today, I just mentioned about my team. So we are now working as a team, and then I'm very thank you for appreciate the teamwork for making it possible those projects. And this is our team for the Superception project team here now. Okay, so this is my last end of my talk. So thank you for your attention, and then I'm very happy to present my work here. So I'm happy to have a question and also the comments here. Thank you so much.
Fantastic work. I think many people were in awe of all the multiple experiments that you presented to to us, and very much a sense of the future and where we're going with the future of human-computer interaction. So floor is open for questions. Please step up to the mic or put them in the chat. Bobby's joining. And we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. I just wanted to ask, it seems to me that the key in some of these things was how you designed the AI to provide assistance without actually just taking over. Could you talk a little bit more about that?
Thank you so much. Yeah. So yes, this is actually a slightly, I think I want to talk about this kind of things here. Autonomous driving car versus autonomous driving human. Of course, we can imagine that the autonomous AI can take over our movement when we think of the driving right now. So the AI system can right now providing the autonomous driving vehicles. It's possible. But this is actually something we have to care about. Can we, the intention or the joy of the movement, that if we take over all actions by computers, then we will lose sense of agency, the movement, and then actually, if we lose something in our intention or movement, I think we end up to the losing ourselves. So of course, this is a matter of the design or how matter of the service. But I guess we should design how we can, what kind of things the people want to do. And then even we have to think about even computer or AI take over the human actions. But still, I believe we should remain some kind of a portion of the action should be for the human. That's my idea for the computer-human integration. And then because of this here, this is not happening. This will be not happening in not only the vehicles, but it's also happening in the human or action, many things. So I think it's very important to design that way, how we should take over, what kind of portion should we take over to the AI. So I don't hope this is answering the question.
Okay, so do you think it's problem by problem, or are there general principles that you would generally extract from this?
Yeah, thank you so much. That is a great question. But to be honest, I don't have the concrete answer for it. I think this should be problem issue by topics by topic, okay. Because this is also we should take a step back to what is the meaning of the action. We want to step back to this because if, for instance, like vehicles, if objective is just reaching to the destination, is the objective of the vehicles, okay, we can take over, we can delegate this the driving for the AI because objective is just for going there. But if the objective is the control the car itself is a joy, if we want to do it by myself, we should keep that the action to myself. So I think that will be conveyed topic by topic, I guess.
Okay, great. I really enjoyed your talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for the question, Bobby. Anybody else want to come up to the mic and ask a question or put it in the chat? And so he's there. We can hear you. Good to go.
Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you so much for the presentation, Dr. Kasahara. So I have a quick question. Would you go back to the previous slide that you had about all the experiments?
So this one or?
Yeah, this one. So about all these types of experiment, you mentioned that a lot of participants, they did not know it's the AI that helping them to do some sort of interaction and make the interaction much easier for them. What if we give them feedback and basically like give the info to them that you're also getting AI and for example for the movements in the body movement in the virtual reality, they didn't know that the AI make them like slower or heavier or lighter. What if we would give them the feedback, this is, for example, the heavier experiment, this is the lighter experiment? Would they feel the same way if they fill out the post-experiment questionnaire or something like that? I was wondering if we can still find out that, is this because of their perception, or is this because of the feedback that they're getting? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This is actually quite great question about like awareness of the intervention, I guess. So whether people have the awareness of intervention or not, and then I think it depends on the phenomena. For instance, like today I show some like two parallel adaptation for the movement, for instance, or lighter body sensation. This is actually, even we know that what is awareness of the intervention is happening because of this is caused by perception, I guess. But for instance, like the stroke test, like I show some like EMS trial, and then some sense of agency is biased based on the outcome. Those kind of the sense of agency is actually affected by cognition, I guess. The context. So in that case, awareness of the intervention or AI will much affect to that kind of sensation or kind of sense of agency, I guess. So I guess the short answer is it depends on how those sensation or perception or cognition happening in which layer, I guess.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, question. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. I think we've got time for maybe one more question before we move into the break.
Yeah. Hi. Yes, I have a question. So I was wondering about, I don't know if this is a question, it's just more like a wonder. So I was thinking about this experiment with the pen in which you had to grab it, which I did, and it was amazing. So I was wondering, would there be any long-term effects, So imagine you always, you have someone with, for a month, repeating this with the help of the stimulus. So would this somehow perhaps improve the muscle reflexes, or would it be detrimental in the sense that your muscle would get lazy because it gets this external stimulus? I don't know. Is there
Yeah, thank you so much. And actually, we partially answered this question. Because of that's the previous research of the preemptive action, we tried. Then those kinds of acceleration happening even after taking of the EMS. We did this experiment. This is actually just after the EMS takeoff. So it's not talking about a long-term effect. But this experiment is actually finds if you provide agency preserved EMS actuation, after some training, we found even without EMS, we found the reaction time get improved. If we training with agency preserved EMS. So that is just after the EMS, the takeoff. But in the long term, it's actually happening different because, as you mentioned, maybe we will a little bit rely on some augmentation, and then maybe our internal something will be lazy. I didn't check the effect right now. I think that's a very interesting question. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, nice to see, and perhaps future work, it would be great to look into these things. Maybe if we keep the help longer, it gets even better, or maybe not.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, there's always more to do. But let's have another round of applause for our second keynote speaker. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And just a reminder, we are recording, so people have the ability to review all the great talks we're doing in the